All right, everybody. Welcome to the A Little Bit More podcast with Pastor Kevin. I am your host, Lee, here to ask the questions you are all wondering about. Number one is that sweet mug. I have a question about it.
So
because SpaghettiOs, listen, growing up, show the folks at home this beautiful mug. The SpaghettiOs growing up were like a staple of my life.
Yeah.
Nothing better than cracking
Chef
open
Boyardee and SpaghettiOs was amazing.
Beefaroni. All that stuff.
Yeah. So as a 90s kid, I love all the little phrases. So my almost 3-year-old Bray, I will just quote them to him just to see if he'll say them. So I'll go, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. And he'll go, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
You're carrying on.
Oh, man. He has no idea what he's saying, but I'm like, yes, we got to get him going.
That's part of our culture growing up. You got to keep that alive.
Yeah. So actually, this mug was from Pete Grush.
Good old Pete.
Who passed away. We were just talking, I wonder how many things he had to turn in because he got his name on it.
I guarantee you that was like eat 100 cans of SpaghettiOs, send in the labels, and we'll give you a personalized mug.
Yeah.
Which, do they even do stuff like that anymore?
No, they used to do cool stuff with like Pepsi and, well, McDonald's is trying to bring it back. They're doing the Monopoly again.
Yes.
So
do you remember Keebler crackers, Keebler Elves?
Yeah.
Okay, I did the contest as a kid. They sent me an entire tree house made out of cardboard that we had set up in our living room. It was the coolest thing. I don't remember. I was so little how many like boxes of crackers I had to eat to do that, but I still remember that. And I remember Star Wars. I sent in for the limited edition Emperor.
Oh yeah.
So I have that. Like
you do? You still have it?
I have it. So I don't know if it's worth anything, but it was one you couldn't buy in the stores. So.
Yeah, they used to do cool things like even Welch's would do the jam jars. You could do it for juice, like juice cups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't usually endorse shows, but I mean, this was several years ago that I remember Jan and I stumbled upon it. But the Pepsi contest.
I was just going to bring that up. Did you see that? The guy
fighter jet
figured out the money to do it and did it.
Yeah.
And he still never got it.
Because there was no, and that's why if you look at commercials, it will, the very fine print.
There's always that fine print.
Yeah.
Even the stupid things now, because they don't want to get sued, is like if someone's flying in an imaginary car or whatever, it says do not attempt.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Or like Red Bull, it doesn't actually give you wings. They have to tell you.
Yeah, because they got sued.
Yeah.
People are silly. So, anyway, that's a little bit more of random stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we're into November. It's November.
Yeah.
The greatest time of the year as far as holidays go, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's the only thing that makes getting cold is that we got Thanksgiving and Christmas back to back. But we are here. We're continuing through Galatians. What do you got for us a little bit more?
Yeah, so as I'm unpacking Galatians, this could have easily been a 12-week series.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff in here.
Yeah, that you could have spent at least 2 weeks on each chapter. And chapter 3 is one of those chapters. It's like, okay, where do we start? What do we talk about? So
it's really like a butt whooping.
It really is. That's a great way to put it. Well, that's actually a great way to say it because it really is supposed to be like a parent talking to you. Mm-hmm. It's how Paul's kind of writing it. And last Sunday we kind of talked about just the last 6 verses, but I want to go to verse 1 through 22 because we didn't even like touch any of that. Mm-hmm. There's so much more. So this is a little bit more of things you didn't even hear about on Sunday because we couldn't get to it at all. So he continues to talk about the Judaizers and the Gentiles. And Gentiles, you don't have to be like the Jews just to be safe. And that's what the Jews were trying to do because they didn't want the Roman government to kind of take away some of their privileges, but also you got to follow the law, this whole deal. Anyways, so in verses 1 through 22, it's also interesting that Paul brings up Abraham. Mm-hmm. And if you go back to Genesis chapter 15, verse 6, it talks about that Abraham was seen righteous in the eyes of God. It's the whole chapter about the covenant between him and God. But he's seen righteous. Why? Because of his faith. And this is before the law was written. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that was, you have Adam and Eve, the whole fall. But after the fall, it was faith that was going to bring the restoration. It was what was happening what Jesus was doing, what Jesus was going to fulfill. Once again, Jesus didn't come to eradicate the law. He came to fulfill the law. And so there's a lot of pieces in here. If you do not read the scriptures, the Bible as a meta-narrative, meaning that you look at the whole piece, you're going to be like, why did he take this random exit and start talking about Abraham? What is going on here? And like I said, it started off with this whole conversation about it happened through faith at the very beginning. That's what Paul is trying to prove. Hey, this story was about faith all along. And then the law had to happen more as an in-between, waiting for the seed, is what it says.
Capital S.
Capital S. Very good. Yeah. So capital S, and it's also singular. So we know that there's only one way to the restoration process. So some people would say there's only one way to heaven. Yes, it is to heaven, but it's to be in the presence of God, to be restored, to be righteous again, is through the seed. Now, we're going to have to put our maturity hats on for this one, but it is really important that we understand the Greek for that word. So we're going to talk about the word seed, and I want to talk about the word guardian. So make sure I don't get too distracted. We got to talk about those two words.
I'm here for you.
So the word seed, if you look it up in the Greek, so it'd be an interesting word study. Go pour yourself a really big cup of coffee, or if you're a Diet Coke person,
gross,
you can go get yourself a Diet. The word is sperma in Greek. If you have more of a Western tone to your language, it would be sperma, which without the A is sperm. Seems kind of weird. We got to, once again, put our maturity hat on. But that's what the seed is bringing new life. And so Jesus is bringing, he's not just like, okay, just be better.
Yeah.
It's not a how-to. I'm going to give you new life.
New thing.
And that's what Paul is saying. He's going, guys, the seed has come, and there's this whole new life in that. And so that was the reason why Jesus came.
And they're still trying to just do old works.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Because, he uses some wake-up words here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You foolish Galatians.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hey, I got your attention now.
You're wasting the grace.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago. They're like, well, this seems kind of like God is an evil God because it's like child sacrifice. I said, no, not even close. Jesus did not come on the scene of this whole story as a baby. He has always been. And Jesus is God. So Jesus, once again, we got to read it in a meta-narrative way. Jesus was at creation. He was before creation. He just took on flesh, right? So he was born as a baby, but he already was.
Yeah.
So that was not his existence. That's not when his existence started. So he brought what needed to be brought into this. So that's the whole seed thing. The narrative is so important. Also in the first century, they had these guardians, people that had custody, as we would call them, right? So we have guardians in today. So like if something would happen to someone's parents, they died or they couldn't take care of the kids for whatever reason, if another family member can step up, they're considered the guardian. In the first century, a guardian saw a little bit different than just having legal care of the kids. Actually, guardians were hired slaves, basically to make sure your kid, particularly the boys, were having moral integrity. Okay. That they were living within the law.
So they're just watching out to make sure they're on the right track.
Right. And then dad would give the thumbs up that the son was ready to be released from the guardian.
That's interesting.
So the law was basically our guardian until Jesus came into the picture and took on flesh.
That's cool. Yeah.
So Paul is actually saying something really profound. So hopefully people can track, but it's this idea that the law, you don't get rid of the law. Jesus came to fulfill it. And it's kind of like a mirror. And this is the best way I've heard it said. Like if you walk up to a mirror and you see something on your face or you see something on your shirt, mostly me after I eat any kind of meal. It's mostly why I wear black, because things you can just kind of wipe it into it. But if you look in the mirror and you see something on your shirt or on your face, it just tells you that there's a problem. Mm-hmm. It diagnoses, it doesn't cure. Mm-hmm. You would never walk up to a mirror, take the mirror off the wall, and use it to cure what's on your shirt. It would be that you don't do that. Mm-hmm. You're going to go pick a towel up. You're going to maybe change your shirt. You're going to wash your face. But that's not the cure. Mm-hmm. The law is not the cure. It is just to diagnose and to help you self-reflect.
That's good.
So the Jewish people were making the law their identity rather than living the freedom of Christ. Christ is the cure. The law is what diagnoses it. And we know we have a problem because of the law. The law helped reveals it. It's the same as the law that we have in this country, and hopefully what other countries are doing too, is that the laws are kind of the boundary. What protects the God-given rights to all things. But the law, the Mosaic law, was a bit different than how we have lowercase laws, right? Yep. This is a capital law. So, yeah, thoughts?
No, it's fascinating. Yeah. When you, I think a lot of these books are like that. If you don't understand the whole context, which is why you've done a great job in between Connor and you, in setting this up and giving us the background of why the book is written, it really clarifies everything that's in here. Because you can really just read chapter 3 and it'd be good. But when you understand all of it, it brings it a whole new light.
Right.
And so that's why I love that we've taken our time going through this. And like you said, we could have even taken more time.
Oh, yeah. Because, on Sunday, we couldn't even talk about the seed. We couldn't talk about the guardian. But there's so much there. It seems like you could just skip over verses 1 through 22 because it just seems repetitive.
Yeah.
But he's making a really strong point.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing of history and humanity. We are living in the same battle today with feeling like there's still faith movements and religious movements that just say, what are you doing? You need to be better. You need to live, instead of just accepting the freedom that Jesus gives us. He's done the work for us. And so the stuff he's writing to the Galatians is stuff people still struggle with today. So that's why the Bible is so incredible. This was written thousands of years ago to a people group.
Yeah.
And yet it's still for us. And we need to understand, people sometimes need to talk to us and say, hey, foolish.
Yeah. So the top 2 podcast genres, one, unsolved mysteries and crime podcasts. So that's number 1. Number 2 is self-help. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying throw away all your self-help books, but sometimes those books are anti-gospel.
Yeah.
It's saying you can be good enough, you can develop yourself enough to eradicate all the problems in your life. It's a false narrative. It's a false gospel. It can never be accomplished, and that's not even the goal. The goal is not necessarily success. The goal is obedience and faithfulness. What is God calling us to be rather than do, because he has already done?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the narrative that we sometimes miss as believers. It's like, well, I didn't read my Bible this week. I didn't go to church this week, so I'm a terrible person. Or that's why you're a terrible manager of your own sins. I said that a couple weeks ago, but you're a terrible manager of your own sins, because you'll either beat yourself up or you'll say, well, I'm not that bad. Someone else is worse than I am. So we're just
spheres of righteousness. You're comparing this.
Right.
That's why I think it's so fascinating. If you go back and actually read this, whoever's listening, to the first couple verses especially, I'm reading from the Message. I like to evaluate that based on the different translations sometimes. It says in 2-4, it says, let me put this question to you. How did your new life begin? Was it by working your heads off to please God, or was it by responding to God's message to you? Are you going to continue to live in this craziness? For only crazy people would think they could complete their own efforts, what was begun by God. Yeah. Come on. Live in the freedom that Christ has. You're not going to check up, but that's how all these other, we talked about this before, religious movements, all these other faith religious movements are based on what you're doing. You got to be better. You got to do this. And that's not at all what Jesus teaches us here. No. And this is reminders then, it's reminders now. Thanks for keeping this in front of us, because we don't want to beat each other up every day saying you got to let's live in the freedom of Christ.
Yeah. And righteousness. What does righteousness mean? To be in right relationship with God.
Which is a beautiful, freeing thing.
Yeah. And I love how you started this. It kind of feels like a butt whooping, right? Like the very beginning, it says, you foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? It's like, who were your parents that raised you? It's kind of like he's being a little bit facetious here. He's going like, what's your problem? Who hurt you? Who taught you this stuff?
Yeah.
Because you watched, many of these people watched Jesus firsthand do some of these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, what happened to you?
Yeah. Again, that's a good reminder for today. Go back to the truth of the word first.
Yeah.
Be careful what else you're letting in your life. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there to help you be better or whatever, but some of that stuff can lead you down a wrong path. Instead of, let's just go back to the word.
Yeah.
The word of God is where it is at. So we have to be, as followers of Jesus, you got to be in the word every day. Let it change your heart, and that effect will change your behavior. So thanks for a little bit more, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good stuff. I look forward to next week. We'll do this again. We'll keep learning together, growing together.
Yeah.
And appreciate you leading us through this.
Yeah. Have a great week.
Take care.
See you guys.